Hi lovelies, it's Jess and welcome back to my channel. So today we are getting cozy and comfy on the couch and we're just gonna have a really important chat because I want to talk to you about how to get your life back on track when you're feeling really unmotivated or really burnt out. And not burnout in the sense of you've been overworking. This video is actually inspired by a very touching email that I received from one of you. And if any of you are going through a challenging time, know that you can email me, message me, reach out on Instagram, comment down below. I do my absolute best to reply to each and every one of you. And I'm not going to read out the entire email because it was very long, but I'm just going to pull bits and pieces out of it because one thing that really stood out was just the relevance of the challenge that this person's gone through, and I really think that it's going to resonate with a lot of you. So if you feel like you really need to get your life back on track, but you are feeling stressed out and overwhelmed by the idea of taking things from 0 to 100, this is not going to be a video all about how to wake up at 5 a.m. and transform your life in 30 seconds or 20 minutes or the span of this video, because I don't want that to be the purpose of this video. This video is going to be practical tips. It's here to just make you feel comforted and reassure you that you can get your life back on track, but you have to follow these simple but really effective tips. So I thought I'll just read out a few bits of this email for you all. And yes, I have a balancing act here of chamomile tea and my laptop, but you know I gotta have my tea for these kind of videos. Keeps me nice and chilled. You don't want crazy Jess in these videos. If you want crazy Jess, go follow me on Instagram and go watch my reels because I've been dancing and boogieing it out. Anyway, so this lovely person, and I'm not going to say her name or where she's based, but essentially she wrote to me and shared that over the last couple of months of her senior year, she really burnt out, not necessarily with school, but more in regards to making the most out of her life. So she spiraled into an unhealthy routine and a habit that she's never had before. And I really encourage you to just think about what parts of this email relate to maybe your life. You could see aspects of yourself in these challenges. But she said that she now wakes up minutes before her classes because everything's online and she has enough time to brush her teeth and log on. She eats her first meal at about 5 p.m. even though she's binged on Ben & Jerry's throughout class, which to the most literal sense has become a daily habit, she says. And then she goes and lies in bed from 5:30 to 9:30, wakes up well into the night and eats whatever's left over for dinner, and then we'll watch TV till about 2 in the morning and repeat that over and over again. And she's also stopped talking to other people, essentially because she's been wanting to social distance, so she hasn't been meeting up with anyone. And yeah, she's really struggling. So I wanted to share some practical ways to get your life back on track, whether it's because of the year that you've experienced, whether you've had other things going on in your life, whether you've burnt out because you've been doing too much work. I want to share with you how you can take better care of yourself and really get through this challenging period that you're going through. So let's get straight into the tips because I feel like I've waffled on for a little bit too long, but we'll see how the editing of this video goes. All right, let's get into it. So this would not be one of my videos if I didn't start with talking about self-compassion. So let's just take a moment and reflect on basically the last year and a half and everything that we have all gone through. And I know it's going to be different for everyone depending on your situation, but if you can actually sit for a moment and be really compassionate and practice that element of self-love and say, hey, you know what? I've been through a lot. It's okay where I'm at right now and how I've responded and whatever ways I have coped, whatever coping mechanisms I've taken on, that's what I needed to do in order to get through it. And that's okay because I'm human, you are human. So whether that was binge eating Ben & Jerry's every single day or spiraling into a Netflix addiction, that is your way of coping. Now, I want to give you some healthier coping mechanisms, but in order to move forward, you actually have to just forgive yourself and let the past go and say, I did the best that I could, and I'm a human being. So let's just start with a big old dose of self-compassion, shall we? All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is, it definitely ties on from self-compassion. It's about embracing imperfection. The idea that, there are people out there that are making videos about how to get up at 5 a.m., how to slay life, how to thrive, how to biohack and have the healthiest diet. And that's cool if that's what you're after at that point in time. But if you are going from being in an absolute rut of, lacking motivation, feeling really terrible about yourself or your life, or mentally just not feeling great, feeling highly anxious or feeling really sad and low or even depressed, then that's really not appropriate here, because what it does is it essentially says to you, you need to get rid of all these unhealthy habits and unhealthy ways of being and feeling and thinking, and you need to be perfect. You now need to have the perfect morning routine. You have to have the perfect diet. You have to look perfect. You have to get the perfect body. And it's not like in time, it's now. And that requires a lot of patience as well. So I wanted to get you to think about embracing imperfection so you can sit with whatever is going on in your life and embrace wherever you are in your life right now, and know that it's not about going from 0 to 100. It's about taking practical baby steps. And that's the next thing I want to share with you. Okay, so here are a couple of baby steps that you can take to get your life back on track. First thing, and this is something that's been recommended by a psychologist, is to make sure that you have a schedule. I can absolutely tell you this. When I experienced a 111-day lockdown in my state, having a schedule was a mental health lifesaver. Like, I needed that. And think about kids these days, not even these days, think about kids in general. If they don't have a schedule, if they don't have structure, they run amok because there's no certainty. So think about how you can structure your days, whether it's this is the time I'm going to be waking up, or this is the time I'm checking my emails, or this is the time that I'm going to go for a walk. And I'll touch on vitamin N, nature, in a minute, mind you. But even scheduling in 3 meals a day, I feel like looking after ourselves physically and what we eat, that's like one of the first things to go out the window when we're having a tough time. It's like we neglect the nutritional aspect of our bodies, the things that the body really needs to function at its absolute best and focus. And mind you, what you eat does affect your mood. If you are allowing your blood sugar levels to spike and plummet, you are going to feel atrocious. And I can tell you that's definitely been the case for me in the past. So just think about little things that you can do, little ways to structure your days and add a greater level of certainty, control, familiarity, and also accomplishment. And speaking of vitamin N, so something that I do every day and I love it, this has just become one of my favorite things to do, and I do not view it as a chore anymore, is taking Winston for a walk. So Adam and I would take Winston for walks when we were going through lockdowns, and I really began to appreciate the power of vitamin N, because it just lifted our spirits. And I know that it's very much intertwined with dopamine and exercise, but if you can just get out in nature, if you're feeling terrible about yourself and you are in a rut or you're unmotivated, go and sit in a park for 30 minutes and notice how it can change your mood. So these are really simple little things, but they are so powerful. Now, given that the last year and a half has it's really shaken up our ability to connect in ways that we typically otherwise would have. One thing that I really found helpful for my own mental health was to speak with my psychologist. And even though it was over Zoom, it didn't matter. Just that act of connecting with another person and getting that guidance, being able to share what was weighing on my chest and debrief, but also get some really helpful strategies. It made the world of a difference. So I really want to just break down any remaining stigma around seeing a psychologist or having a therapist, and say that if you are really feeling like you're in a rut, this is probably the most important thing that you can do for yourself. And I really encourage you to go and seek support, talk it out. Everything is better over a cup of tea, mind you, But if that person is qualified to give you the best possible advice, that is exactly what you deserve and that's what you need. The last tip I wanted to share with you is about finding new ways to connect and maintain your social relationships. So one thing that really stood out in that email, I think, is the lack of social connection that this person's experiencing. And I'm sure that this is the case for a lot of you all still, hopefully not. But it's really important that even if you can't see someone face to face, you can chat to them over Zoom, over FaceTime, over, I don't know, all the other video chat messaging apps and WhatsApp video, all that stuff. I feel like I'm so old trying to be keeping up with the times. I don't even know what the new video calling, I was gonna say Skype, that is so outdated. I suggested a Skype call for work recently and they were like, you mean Zoom? I meant, yeah, Zoom, sure. I'll learn how to use Zoom now. Anyway, yeah, it's really important that you do find ways of maintaining social connection because again, we are social creatures and there are studies out there where people experiencing symptoms of depression have met in a group together and been given a common task or goal, like creating a community garden, for example, or starting an art class or a book club. And the implications, the positive effects of connecting with one another was mind-blowing, like really mind-blowing. So make sure that you're still finding ways to connect because again, it's so vital for our mental health. So comment below if you enjoy my little sit down and chat and have a cup of tea with Jess videos. I will try and make more of these if you do, where if I get an email that I think will resonate with the majority of you, I will then use that as inspiration for YouTube and maybe Instagram as well. But if you're looking for other helpful resources, click down below. I'll leave a link to my study skills book, The High School Survival Guide, and my digital planners, my stationery, my blog and website. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram at Study with Jess for daily inspo as well. So I hope you'll have a beautiful week and I'll see you all next week with another video. Mwah! Bye. Cheers.